So when the coronavirus was first spreading throughout the world, the main story was the mortality rate. How deadly is this thing? And I remember when we first thought it had a mortality rate of 3.4% at the worst, which is bad. Here in the United States, they estimated that if we did nothing, no social distancing, no measures, whatever, we'd lose 2.4 to 4.4 million people, which is a lot. And if you do the math, and back then we thought, okay, people would maybe respond well to the coronavirus, and things, haven't gone so well. Because if you actually do the math, 3.4% of the American population is millions more people. But luckily, thankfully, you look at the data out there, it seems like the mortality rate's a lot less than that, which is awesome. That's good news. I will drink to that. But it's important to remember here that recovered doesn't always mean, back to how you were before. The coronavirus might not have killed you, but for a lot of people, it's leaving like permanent damage. At first we thought it was like a respiratory disease. We thought, okay, it's just gonna affect the lungs. And there's been a lot of young people out there with scarred lungs that have permanent lung damage. I've heard some really sad stories about folks who are like long distance runners. For some reason, I don't know why anyone would be a long distance runner. I hate running, obviously. But a lot of folks out there who were in really, really good cardiovascular shape. And now they have permanent lung damage. I'm hearing about people who can't, walk down the driveway without stopping to catch their breath. And who knows if they're actually gonna be able to regain that lung capacity. You might survive the coronavirus, but you might need oxygen for the rest of your life. And these are young people we're talking about here. We're not talking about old people. The story about the person I read, I think she was 29, or in maybe early 30s or something like that. But these aren't old people. This is happening to us in the youth, or at least when I was young. I'm not like 31. That's still kind of young. Anyway, we've learned a lot more about the virus since then, and we've now realized that it really affects red blood cells, and that means it can ravage every organ in the body. There was a study, and they looked at 100 patients that had the coronavirus, and these are people who had like serious complications with the coronavirus, and 78 of them had like lingering heart problems, and so they think they might have permanent like heart damage because of the virus. Yes, again, they recovered, but it's heart damage. Permanent heart damage is a serious thing, and a lot of these people, it's been months or weeks since they've recovered, and they're still having the same problems. I have friends too who have recovered from COVID-19, and they've tested negative, but they're still exhausted, like exhausted. At least that's what they say when I ask them to hang out. They better not be lying, but assume they aren't. We still don't know a lot about this. You'd think that you'd be able to recover after a couple months, but there's still people who have all kinds of weird side effects. I was just hearing about, folks who have like these crazy hiccup fits. Like they can't stop hiccuping for days. And that's something we're just finding out about. And the fact is, we just don't know enough about the long-term effects of this virus. Right now, the Trump administration is trying to get rid of the pre-existing coverage of Obamacare. Basically, one of the most popular parts of Obamacare was that you can't be denied for a pre-existing condition. So if you were born with something, or you got sick along the way or whatever, you could still get health insurance, which is awesome. But right now, the Trump administration is trying to get rid of that. So theoretically, if you're one of the millions of people that have tested positive for COVID-19, and they are successful in getting rid of that mandate, that could bar you from getting health care for the rest of your life, or at least health insurance for the rest of your life. So if you get COVID-19 and you have problems later, they could list that as a pre-existing condition since you already had it. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, and hopefully they're not able to repeal this mandate, but I guess we'll see. But the main thing is that the most important thing about COVID-19 isn't just the mortality rate. There's a lot of permanent problems that you can have. Also, if you get your family members sick and one of them passes away, that's definitely a permanent problem in my book. So please, social distance, wash your hands, stay out of crowds, and by all means, please, just wear the mask. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for watching Citizen Pete. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, click that little subscribe button, maybe the like button, and hey, maybe just leave a comment. You know, I want to know what you're thinking. What do you think about all the politics, the news, and all the stuff that's going on in our country?